So one of my followers sent me a tweet from this Jeffrey Rath guy, and he's apparently one of the Albertan separatists, the sort of people getting paid by the same people who paid for Brexit. And we all know how that worked out for the UK. I mean, the Queen is dead. We all see the results. Did that not make sense? Clearly, my good audience, you haven't been trained enough in the unique art of, we'll say, consuming word salad. For those unfamiliar, word salad, when not caused by a medical condition like sepsis or brain damage, is an abuse tactic commonly found in the sort of people whose behavior is so bad they end up being forced to sit down with a psychologist. Because, as a rule, these sorts of people aren't smart enough to realize that life would be much better for them if they worked with a qualified therapist to keep them from destroying the lives of everyone around them. Life is a lot easier if you don't exhaust and alienate everyone in your support network. So, what is word salad? Honestly, it's a lot like those emails that you get when they try and make you scared and make you think that you've run out of iCloud storage. Only they throw in scary words like fraudulent and compromised and malware viruses. Words that have meaning but don't really mean anything in the context that they're strung together. By the way, if you do have an iPhone and you are worried that your iCloud storage is full, you can go to settings, scroll up to the top to your name. Also, if you see any red dots on settings, you can read why the phone wants your attention and deal with that. And if it's asking you to sign up for Apple Pay, you can just say you're going to and then cancel it, and then the dot will go away. Though everyone should use Apple Pay because it is so much more secure than just tapping your little card. What was I saying? Right. So in this example, you can see that he's talking about joint benefits for Alberta and America once Alberta is free from what he calls communist Chinese controlled government, plural, in Ottawa. So, do those words make sense together? Well, first of all, China certainly has a unique form of government, but you'd be hard pressed to really call Chinese Communist Party actual communism. Not that I'm advocating for communism, but China is one of the most capitalist countries on the planet. Secondly, there's this inference that China somehow controls the Canadian federal government, which is funny because the Prime Minister in recent memory who was characterized most by completely selling out Canada to the Chinese government was, you guessed it, Stephen Harper, who I wouldn't be surprised to find out was helping fund this guy. But again, it's word salad. It doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to be oily. Next up, you have the claim that there'd be no federal income tax and zero tariffs between Alberta and America, which would be interesting because they seem pretty intent on having tariffs with everyone. So the only way you'd be able to get around tariffs would be to not actually be an independent Alberta. You'd have to become a territory because they ain't going to make you a state and redo the Electoral College. Beyond that, if Alberta actually was its own country, you would then have whatever were provincial taxes now be federal taxes. Beyond that, a lot of the federal tax that's collected from Alberta goes right back into Alberta to fund things like healthcare. So unless Alberta just wants to have no government services of any kind, which these separatists may think is a good idea, but Albertans would in practice not like it, there would still be federal taxes. They would just go to a different office, one that would probably be much more corrupt. And that's another thing with these loopy word salad type. They always talk about low taxes, and low taxes means low services. Always. The money has to come from somewhere, and generally it comes out of programs that are designed to keep people off the streets and off of street corners begging for your money. So if you want to live in a crime infested yada yada yada, prioritize lower taxes for people who are way richer than you, who can fund crazy people on Twitter. If you want a safe place to raise a family, though, you want higher taxes.